Hey, what's up guys, back again. We're going to try and do this in one take this time. Okay, so today, as you see in the title, we're going over Disney movies from my childhood. My favorite. My personal favorite. If you disagree with my list, it's okay. If there are some that you think should be on my list, well, it's not your favorite, it's mine. Okay, so for the rules for this, obviously it has to be a Disney movie. It's going to be made between about 2001 and 2008. I'm including all like sequels and prequels together, even though some of them definitely don't necessarily deserve to be on there as much as the other ones. Sequels definitely are not as good as the original most of the time, but we're just going to get right into the list. With number 10, there is one that a lot of you definitely know and is definitely a fan favorite. It's Monsters Incorporated. Some of you probably aren't going to like that it's 10. I'm going to have a little bit of spoilers in here probably, but I love Mike Wazowski and Sully. Sully was always just like the big scary guy that I loved. I don't know how to really explain it, but it was definitely a movie that I watched over and over again as a childhood, and I always loved it. And backing up with number 9 is definitely one that a lot of people will forget about, is Luck of the Irish. As a kid, I was a huge basketball fan, and I was also that kid that went around pinching everyone on St. Patrick's Day when they didn't wear green. So St. Patrick's Day was a great thing for me. So this movie always playing around then with the Luck of the Irish, the coin. If you don't know what happened, there's pretty much this guy named, I think his name's Kyle. I haven't seen the movie in years, but it is definitely something I want to go back and watch. I think his name's Kyle. He's a basketball player who just runs out of luck, and with his whole family and the pot, and there's a luck pot. I don't want to ruin the whole movie, but pretty much he fights to get his luck back, and it's the Luck of the Irish because, you know, he's Irish, blah, blah, blah. You guys get it. Come on. You get it. You understand. Okay, rolling into number 8 is one that a lot of you probably didn't see coming, and it is Twitches. If you did not like Twitches was one of the better Disney movies made in that era. Twitches was surprisingly a very deep movie for Disney's normal shallow Twitches has a really thick plot line for a Disney movie. Most Disney movies, very simple, you can see the theme clearly and you can see all the characters, and the movie's normally really predictable. Twitches, however, was not. It's about these two twin sisters that were born, they lost their father, I don't want to see. There's, I think there's 3 movies. There might be 2, but it is really good. It was actually one where the sequel didn't suck. Moving on to number 7, another classic. Recently, had its sequel, which was good but not as good. It is Finding Nemo. And if you didn't like Nemo as a child, I don't know what to tell you. But I did recently rewatch Nemo, and I realized that I forgot the entire beginning, like 5 to 10 minutes of it, but it's okay. But yes, everyone knows Nemo. He was a fish. Well, duh, he's a fish. A clownfish. Nemo's a clownfish. Goes on his adventure. I don't want to spoil the movie, but it was really important to me again because if you didn't know, my mom actually ran a daycare when I was a kid. So Finding Nemo was always one of those movies that, you know, it's great for all ages, so we just watched it. We watched it constantly, all the time together, and I'm very surprised that I actually forgot the ending. And with Finding Dory coming out recently, everyone, you know, rewatched Finding Nemo, was like, dang, I love that. This is great. Moving up to number 6, probably another one that a lot of people didn't expect unless you know me, Jump In. If you didn't know me, I'm a huge Corbin Bleu fan. I wanted to be him when I grew up, pretty much. He was my favorite. I was not a boxing fan at all, though, if you didn't know Jump In. But this movie did have me obsessed with jump rope for a while, even though I was completely not coordinated to jump rope. I do wish that I've always wanted to go to one of these double dutch competitions, like a real life double dutch competition, and just see how it works. So I want to see how like accurate the movie is, because, you know, they got a lot of things that it's like, wow, did they actually do this in double dutch? But yeah, the plot was a basic Disney movie plot with, you know, like the boy and the girl, and the boy let down the girl, and the blah blah blah, just like a basic Disney movie plot. But nonetheless, Corbin Bleu was great. There was another actor in it that was really good. What's her name? I don't know, but she was on another Nickelodeon show, like the new VP or something. I don't know. I forget her name. I'm probably gonna be flashing her name down on the screen right now because I can't remember it. And on to number 5, back with holiday themes, is Halloweentown. The series of Halloweentown movies, I love. Just the fact that it was a completely different world out there, and all the kids with it. it was just super fun. It seemed like a really cool world. It seemed like two separate realities merging together, which is always really cool. Halloween Town High, I think, was my favorite. There was a lot of cool things in there. I remember kind of movies mushed together, like if they were all one giant thing tied together, but I do remember them being my favorite movies to watch around Halloween, and I always look forward to them. Disney was definitely my favorite channel to watch, and these were also constantly played on Disney, so I loved all of these. Number 4 is one that me and my friends talked about recently and have all agreed that it is actually one of the better Disney movies, and that is Sky High. Kids with superpowers can be portrayed in very different ways, and the way they did it was very mature and actually one of the more, again, thickening plots of Disney movies. Disney movies tend to not be very thick, and while this one, of course, had some of the basic plots, there were a lot of twists in the movie with the superpowers and everything, as, for one, each superpower seems to reveal a certain thing about each character and their bias. It's a movie I would recommend watching now, even if you're like my age. I've recently gone back and watched it, and I just love the whole thing. And of course I could talk about it and spoil the whole movie, but these next few I'm probably going to talk a little bit more in depth about. So on to number 3, again, another recently remade movie, The Incredibles. I wonder if I have the blanket somewhere with me, but I have like a giant knitted blanket of The Incredibles. It has all of them on it. I think my grandma made it, to be honest, but it was my favorite blanket growing up, and I had it on, every time I watched The Incredibles. The Incredibles was definitely something that I went up and watched all the time. Let me see if you know what? The Incredibles might be the only movie I still have on DVD that's on this list. Boom. The Incredibles. If you can't tell already by a lot of these, I'm a huge superhero fan, and I always have been, so movies about, like, superheroes and all that stuff, I have always loved. That's, again, why Sky High was so high. But I'm just going to say this, The Incredibles 2, to me, was kind of a letdown. I definitely knew that Dash wasn't going to be played as well because the original character was, like, 11 when he played Dash, and however many years later, I forget how many he was, he's a completely grown man, so his voice is completely different. So Dash's voice was very different, and that honestly bothered me the whole film. But as far as sequels go, it wasn't terrible, but I really was looking for more, and with how much time they had, I was like, oh man, this better be bomb. And it was definitely okay, but not exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting, Avengers Infinity War good, something leaving me on the edge of my seat. I know it was The Incredibles, and it was only a kid's movie and something like that, but I don't know why, but I kind of expected more, so I don't know I know I said I was going to put multiple on here, like the sequels and prequels, but I don't know if I think I might have to move Incredibles down below, like, Sky High if I'm including Incredibles 2 in the list of Incredibles. So continuing with our one-take mentality, here we go to number 2, High School Musical. If you did not see High School Musical when you were a kid, you did not have a childhood. If you have not watched High School Musical, go watch High School Musical. I'll give you a second right now as I pause. Okay, you're back. What was I saying? Okay, so yeah, High School Musical, obviously about my boy Troy Bolton. Love that guy. Of course, another Corbin Blue movie. Another Corbin Blue movie. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Another Corbin Blue movie. I love that guy. I wanted to be Chad in High School Musical. Of course, that was my goal in high school. Didn't quite work out that way. When I had the afro, I used to have an afro, and that's really who I modeled it after. I love Corbin Blue. Chad definitely was my favorite character that he played, so Corbin Blue was a huge part of that. But going into High School Musical deeper, rewatching it recently, definitely kind of a basic plot with a lot of things that don't make too many sense. But they do have a really cool high school now that I look back at it, and I really wish we had a really cool high school like that. But the movie is actually surprisingly still pretty good to me. Like, I've rewatched it, and I still think it's a pretty good movie. Definitely not something that I'd love to watch with my friends every time, but something I'd love to see just to remind me of my childhood nostalgia, stuff like that. That's really what all these movies are about, is just reminding me of my childhood nostalgia. But going into the actual trilogy of them, High School Musical 2 was bad. Over the summer, it had some good songs. It had, I think, 2 actual good songs in there, but because, you know, High School Musical 2 is all about the music. I'm not a huge music fan, but it had 2 like really good songs, but I thought High School Musical 2 was just a meh one. I know it was all about the summer and the whole thing, but it just seemed like everyone kind of overreacted to all the situations, and everything was like, I get it that it was a High School Musical, that it's supposed to be dramatic and whatnot, but everything else in 1 and 3 definitely seemed better played, and 2 seemed more like it was a rushed movie that wasn't quite the writer's best. I don't know. I just thought there were some parts in there could have been better, but did show that all guys are douchebags. All guys are douchebags. Don't at me. And moving into the number 1 spot, the very coveted spot, and you know it. I know you know it. And when I say it, if you don't know it, you are going to be upset. You know what? I'm going to pause right here, and you're going to drop it in the comments below, because I know you all know it. It's Toy Story. Toy Story 1, 2, 3, definitely a trilogy where you can say the movies at any point did not suck. I am so excited for 4 to come out later. Just the toys coming to life idea was it just seemed so original at the time, and they seemed to never run out of ideas in the movies. In the movies, they didn't really have anything, they didn't have a lot of repetitive things that a lot of other trilogies seem to have, where it's like, wow, you kind of did this in this movie. Well, they didn't. They never ran out of ideas. Toy Story has been great. Everybody loves Woody and Buzz. If you don't, like, what are you doing? The first one obviously was the best one, just off original, but 3 was also really good, a lot more dramatic. All of the third ones of the trilogy always seem to get way more dramatic and just seem to like make 2 look super bad. As I've seen, a lot of sequels look terrible, but then the prequel seems to be a lot better. I don't know if that's just more time to work and just seeing what people liked and what they didn't like, but of course, this really is a movie that I would never get sick of watching. But I remember the first time I watched them, it was great. They're good movies. Toy Story, while it has a simple plot, also has definitely some inner layers, and it sparks imagination and is a really good animated film and all that stuff. Definitely one of Disney's better works. Okay, guys, so I don't know how long this is going to be, but that's going to be the video for today. I hope you all enjoyed. Go leave your favorite Disney movie in the comments below. Let me know what you guys like. Let me know if you think something should be higher, something should be lower, blah, blah, blah. But that's my own personal list. I might do a lot of these top 10s in the future. Let me know if you like. Sometimes, guys, I just forget how to speak, and I'm just like... It's okay, though. So don't forget to drop a like, comment below your favorite Disney movie. Go follow the socials below. Just dropped a new podcast with my friends where we talk about basketball. So if you like basketball, go watch that. I was going to do a Q&A today, guys, but I didn't get really enough questions that I liked. So if you want me to do a Q&A in the future, just leave some questions in the comments below, or DM me on Instagram with some questions, and I will answer them in another video soon. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm going to try and get this edited and out to you guys as quick as possible. And everybody, I will see you next time.